Hi, I'm attorney Bernard Walsh, and I'm with the law firm of Shapiro, Goldman, Baboni, and Walsh. We're located in Florida. And let's look at a major concern in every trucking case. Both as a victim and as an attorney, you look at, is there a violation of the federal rules on hours of service? Now, when I say federal rules, it also applies to most states, because states have adopted most of the federal regulations in regards to trucking. So these rules apply across the board to violations that involve interstate trucking and intra-state or inside the state trucking. There are specific regulations in regards to how many hours a truck driver can be behind the wheel, or as we call it, in service. First of all, Federal Motor Carrier Safety Regulations, 395.3. Start there. Become familiar with that regulation. How are documents obtained to find out if the truck driver involved in your collision has violated these regulations? Number one, do what I do, and I've done this a good number of times and for many years, but I still contact APITLA, IPITLA, or go to APITLA America, IPITLA.com, and get a copy of either mine or one of the other trucking litigators who have volunteered their spoliation letters. Spoliation letters is a letter to the trucking company saying you want certain evidence preserved. Once you've obtained a response, which includes, I'm going to list them, it's a little lengthy, but it's important that you know them. You want to get the bill of lading, dispatch records, you certainly want to get the driver call-in records, gate receipts are important, weight and scale tickets are important, fuel receipts, toll receipts, trip permits, delivery receipts. There's usually agricultural inspection reports that are done, and credit card receipts. You want this big pile of information available to you when you're going to sit down and figure out, are there hours of service violations? What else do you want? Something that you might not have thought of. You want to find out all cell phones that were in the truck at the time of the collision and before the collision. You want to find out the phone number and which cell phone carrier each one of those cell phones was tied to. Why do you want this? As you drive around in your vehicle or in a truck, if you have a cell phone, you are sending out a message to different towers as you travel through different areas. There are experts who can triangulate these tower requests from a cell phone to not only tell where the truck has traveled, but also when it traveled, because it is also a timeline stamp when they contact the towers. Okay? So a second way of looking at a timeline is through detailed cell phone records that you turn over to an expert. What else can you do? Well, you need to find out and then obtain the information on what computers are being used on the truck itself. I'm going to give you some examples. OmniTrack is a computer board that's often put in trucks. Omni Express, Truck Mail, Trailer Tracks, that's TRACS, Sensor Tracks, J-Tracks, SATCOM, Driver Tech, TECH. There's one more, and it's probably the most common, so you might as well just start with it. Qualcomm, Qualcomm, Qualcomm. That's the most common communication device on most modern day trucks. If you have to obtain all the records for that, it'll help you determine where the truck has been, when it was there, and is there hours of service violations. Asking the driver or reviewing his log may not be the best way of determining hours of service violations. Looking at the details from everything I just listed will give you a better idea of hours of service and if there's a violation. If you have all this in hand, what do you do with it? Do you sit down and do it yourself? You can. I don't. I hire an expert to review all this material and put together a detailed timeline to show whether or not we have an issue on service hour violations by this truck driver.